All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Bitfarms, stock ticker BITF. Bitfarms put out their November operational report. Now, it's December 1st, so Bitfarms always puts out their report the very first day of the following month. So there's a lot of important stuff in this report. I want to dig into it, go through it, and I think some people are going to be surprised at what's going on at Bitfarms. So if you're new to the channel, or if you have not yet subscribed, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button. It is really helping the channel out a lot, and I do appreciate that. Lastly, if you want to become a member, you can join the channel by hitting the join button on the YouTube page. Members get some members-only content. In addition to that, there's a once-a-week members-only live stream, and also the members get to pick a video each week for me to do a deep dive on. So we'd love to see you there. Let's talk about Bitfarms. Okay, I want to start by just looking at where Bitfarms is right now. They're trading at 59 cents. They're up 1.5%. We're pretty early in the trading day, so I'm not sure where we're going to land here today. Bitcoin has been down a little bit this morning, so I'm not so much worried about today's activity. That leaves them with a market cap of $135 million. So you'll see, like most of the other Bitcoin miners, they peaked in November of 2021, so that was basically 1 year ago. This was a $1.35 billion company. They're now a $135 million company. That means their market cap is down 90%. I really like to clarify this because a lot of people misunderstand and they think that the price of the stock is down because of stock dilution. But you're going to see in this instance, although yes, they have diluted their stock, so their stock's down a little bit more than their market cap is down 90%. Okay, let's go to their actual operational report. So this was released this morning at 7 a.m., December 1st, 2022. So we're already in December, if you can believe that. Bitfarms provides November 2022 production and mining operations update. Okay, so their headline here is 453 Bitcoin mined in November and expects to exceed 5,000 Bitcoin mined in 2022. So we'll dig into exactly what those numbers mean, but I will tell you, it looks very much so like they're going to beat 5,000 for the year. And it also looks like they're going to be in a very tight race for second place out of all the publicly traded Bitcoin miners. From a production standpoint, this was an exceptional year for Bitfarms. I don't think there was anybody going into the year 2022 that thought that Bitfarms was going to stand a shot at maybe coming in second place in their actual mining operations for the year. So to me, this has been operationally an absolutely outstanding year. Having said that, financially and from the stock performance standpoint, obviously it's been a completely different story. So we need to look at all those components. So let's go through the press release. In November, we energized 6 megawatts capacity at our garlic farm. In December, we expect to complete garlic and phase 3 of the bunker, bringing our total Sherbrooke operations to the full 96 megawatt capacity. This build out will mark a major achievement for Bitfarms. And just so that you guys know, and we'll look at this later, 100% of that is hydroelectricity. We did have a chance to sit down with Ben on the channel, and he talked about their energy costs, and he said basically they're in contracts where that is not going to fluctuate greatly. So they've got their energy costs way down versus most of the other Bitcoin miners, and it looks like they're set up to maintain that. So we're going to see they will continue to be profitable even if Bitcoin gets lower than where it is right now. Okay, in November we mined 453 Bitcoin, bringing our year-to-date total to 4,672 Bitcoin mined, up 51% from the same period in 2021, said Ben Gagnon, the chief mining officer of Bitfarms. With new capacity coming online in Sherbrooke, our November hash rate increased 5% to 4.4 exahash by mid-month compared to 4.2 exahash at the beginning of the month. So in November, they're saying we averaged 15.1 Bitcoin mined per day. That compares to 15.7 in the month of October, so their per day Bitcoin actually did go down about 4% per day, but their exahash rate went up and the difficulty went up substantially in the month of October and November. So when you wash it all out, actually, when you take the difficulty level into account, they were actually a little bit more efficient in this month, all things considered. And here they say November production was impacted primarily by increases in network difficulty and a shorter month, right? November's 1 day shorter, but when you do it per day, that doesn't matter. They've been doubling the pace of the difficulty level, and this year the difficulty level did spike. I actually think that it probably peaked in October and November. It looks like it's already down, and we're probably set for a nice adjustment down in the first week of December here. If it were to end today, it would be about a 9.5% adjustment to the downside. So we'll have to see. I think the next adjustment is December 6th. Our strategy of using low-cost hydropower and high-efficiency miners continues to drive stable electricity rates and consistently low production costs. As such, we believe that Bitfarms is well positioned to benefit from any industry-related curtailment, idling, or shutting down of miners that may occur as a result of high fossil fuel energy source expense. So what they're saying is, and this is we can see happening, the worldwide hash rate peaked on October 31st at 316 exahash. It has been as low as 200 exahash just within the last week. It seems to be in the 240 to 250 range right now. So there is curtailment. The network's actually gotten a little smaller. And if Bitcoin stays at these low prices, there's the potential that that trend continues, especially as fuel prices are clearly much, much higher this year. Bitfarms does not find themselves in that situation because of the fact that their entire Canadian operations are hydroelectricity. Bitcoin per average exahash. So this is the efficiency rate that I talk about. You'll see October was 115 for them. November was down to 105. So Bitfarms is obviously the first one to report the month of November, so we will have to wait and see how these come in. But according to my calculations, 105 in November should actually put them among the leaders, if not the leader. So there's 2 or 3 other companies that will probably be very close to this number, but based on the increase in the difficulty level, 105 was now about as good as you were going to get. Okay, lastly, they sold 853 Bitcoin. So I want to talk about that because that is an important piece of the puzzle. As previously discussed, Argentina's macroeconomic environment is causing delays in the importation of most goods, which is adversely affecting our ability to bring the additional miners we need to operate the first warehouse at its full capacity of 50 megawatts. That's the first warehouse. 210 megawatts is the total capacity down there should they choose to build the whole thing out. These delays may impact the company's 5.0 exahash goal at year end. Again, I believe, and they're not saying this, so this is just my personal opinion, I believe, like most of the other Bitcoin mining companies, they are managing their growth at this point in the second half of 2022 based on the fact that Bitcoin is at 2-year lows and the difficulty level to mine Bitcoin is at an all-time high. One of the things people worried about is the debt that Bitfarms has, so we're going to take a look at the balance sheet and see where that's at. But what I wanted to go through is you'll see the first bullet point. They paid down $6.7 million in the Bitcoin-backed facility during November, bringing the outstanding principal down to $16.5 million. So this was at one point this year a $100 million line of credit that they had used $100 million of. They now have that down to $16.5 million. There was a plan earlier in the year where they were going to maybe get another $35 to $40 million in debt to pay this off. But instead what they're doing is they're just paying it off straight out and reducing their debt and their interest. So I like this plan. It's not ideal. I think that probably most people in hindsight would agree they should have never gotten the $100 million loan to begin with. But, and hindsight's 2020, we can't go back in time. All they can do now is manage this problem as best that they can. And I like the way they're managing this. They are paying this down. It's down to now $16.5 million. So they could easily have this paid off over the next couple of months. Let's take a quick look at their financial statements and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, as of September 30th, they had $102,811,000. So about $103 million in current assets. The vast majority of that is in cash and in the Bitcoin that they hold. At the same time, they had $82 million in current liabilities. So they still had a current ratio above 1-to-1. Obviously, we would look for that to improve over time, but it's important that they're above 1-to-1 because there are many Bitcoin miners that are publicly traded that are less than 1-to-1, meaning their current assets are not even enough to pay off their current liabilities. More importantly, they continue to chip away at this current liability number. So it's down to $82 million, and they do not have very many long-term liabilities. Most of it's the rest of their long-term debt, which is about $16 million. So their total liabilities all in are $113 million. Call it $114 million. And they have about $103 million in current assets. So they're getting very close to the point where they have the same amount of current assets as total liabilities. So to me, this is getting healthier and healthier. I know a lot of people will look at this and say it could have been a lot better than this, and that's true. But the fact is, right now, the entire Bitcoin mining industry is in conservation mode and survival mode. And this balance sheet actually looks much better, in my opinion, than the previous quarter's balance sheet. So I think they're moving in the right direction. They continue to pay their debt down. They sold 400 Bitcoin out of their reserve this month. They had over 2,000 Bitcoin, so they sold 20% of their Bitcoin. They took all of that money to pay down this loan. So I like all the things they're doing financially, so I'm impressed with this month's operational update report. The numbers were basically right where I expected them to be, so I think they're doing the things they need to be doing. Okay, so on the flip side of this, let's take a look at their chart, because from a stock standpoint, they have not been doing well this year. All the Bitcoin miners are down 90% or more. So you're going to see they're down very close to 94%, their stock year over year from their high. So their market cap was down about 90%. So you can see there was some of this is dilution, but 90% of this is a reduction in market cap. So I'm going to zoom into the 1-day time frame so this becomes a little more clear. If we look back, they hit a 2-year low back on July 5th. So all the Bitcoin miners kind of bottomed out at the end of June or beginning of July. So on July 5th, they got down to $1.04. This was a $9 stock just over 1 year ago. So they were down to $1. Since then, they have taken out those lows. So they had a nice rally in August, as all the Bitcoin miners did, when Bitcoin got up to $25,000. So they got all the way up to $2.33. And then in the 3 months since then, they're now down about 75% in the last 3 months. So they have been beaten down even a little bit worse than the average Bitcoin miner over the last 3 months. In total, they're just about the same over the last 12 months. They're all down between, 93 and 99%. So Bitfarms seems to be down about 94%, but they particularly been taken out versus their summer lows. So there's been an additional level of panic in this stock, even compared to their competitors, over the last really probably 45 days. So I do hold this stock, full disclosure. I hold this stock. I bought some options on this stock. I like where Bitfarms is at, but there is risk in Bitfarms. Obviously, this is a company that's down. They are directly connected to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is still highly volatile, and we don't know where the bottom in Bitcoin is. So my personal belief is we're bouncing along the bottom, and we're going to improve from here. My long-term outlook for Bitcoin is good, but we don't know what happens in the short term. So there obviously is risk in this stock. So please do your own due diligence and be careful before you invest in Bitfarms or any of the Bitcoin mining companies. So that's my November update for Bitfarms. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and smash the like button. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.